So back when I was competing in Sambo professionally, I met the most unusual human being I've met in my entire life. Although he was just my Sambo coach, this Russian Sambo coach, he was a proper mafia boss. Like he literally had these affiliations you wouldn't even dream about. Like this guy was, it was next level, right? Although he was a very dangerous psychopath of a human being, there was so much that I learned from this man. So I came out here, I want to share with you some of the stories about this guy, and then I want to tell you what sort of lessons I learned from them, because it's truly going to blow your mind. Just to build an image, this guy had yellow eyes. He was bald, and he had glowing yellow eyes. So he looked very unusual. I've never seen anybody that looked like this. The way he thought, he was going to do something and nobody was going to stop him. His main goal in this situation, he wanted to open a Sambo federation in Australia. When he first came, there was no Sambo gyms, no nothing, and he decided to bring it into the country and make it an official sport. So one hell of a task, right? When he wanted to pursue these goals, there was this other group, and this was a bunch of Muslim men from where I'm from, like Uzbekistan, and they were all Sambo masters as well. They all had this background, they were very professional, they were a lot better than Vito at Sambo. And at first they were friends, but when he started advancing too quickly, when he started actually building events, building, relationships, they started to get a bit angry. And these guys weren't bad people by any means, but they just didn't like how quickly he was moving. So they personally decided to oppose him. And these guys basically started their own gym. Now, how do you think that went? Like, there's this one guy, the Vito, against all these guys who are way more qualified than him. They got smashed, bro. Like, not like physically, but they got outcompeted. Nobody even knew their name, while Vito became the national, like, head of all of Sambo. Like, even in Russia, he became known as the Sambo guy through Australia. Like, this guy was absolutely ruthless. Now, some of you guys might hear this story and you might just say, well, that's disgusting. Like, he's breaking rules. He doesn't even have, like, a fitness certificate or anything. So you might take the other guy's side, and that's completely understandable. But all I want to say is ambition beats everything. Like, I don't care how qualified you are. You can be master's degree, bachelor's degree, doesn't matter, bro. Because when some guy comes around and he's ambitious as this guy, he's going to crush you. It doesn't matter. So me and my friends, he would take all of us, like the whole gym, he would take us to an Indian community and we would do performances and do fights for Indians in like a huge stage. I got some photos of that right here. Now the second story, it gets a little bit crazier. So this was a couple of years ago when I was going back to my home country for a holiday. I was training Sambo, I was just chilling. Suddenly, I get a conscription paper into my house. Now, for those of you who don't know how that works, conscription paper basically means if you touch it, they're going to send you to the army. Like it's basically you can't really avoid it. Like if someone sees you, you go to army. If you take it off its hanger, you go into army. I tell my coach that, well, I can't come back anytime soon because I have to go to army. He says, all right, that's perfect, but you're not gonna miss your training. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I have to go to army. Like I'm going to be, like shooting guns and stuff. You're going to go up to the army, guys, and you're going to say my name. I am a student of Vita. I already talked to them, and they're going to send you to a special Sambo camp instead of the army where you just be training with psychopath all day for the entire like 4 or 5 months. And I'm like, how does this guy even do this? I even talked to some of the people at the army. They all knew who he was. Even though he was just some random guy living all the way in Australia. Like, fair enough, he had a bit of a mafia in Russia. But this wasn't even Russia. And this guy was able to control how the Uzbek army treated me. Like, I don't know how. Now, this was just a small example. I had another friend who was training with me who went to Russia because that's where he lived. While he was there, the Ukrainian war started and he got recruited. Guess what? Vito comes in and he takes him out of there. The funny thing about these stories is that Vito, he wasn't rich. He was pretty broke, in fact. He wasn't a politician. He didn't have like a business. All he had was connections. He would go up to people and be nice to them and say, I live here, you live here, let's try this, let's try that, and people would start respecting him. The lesson here is that even if you don't have money or qualifications or anything, if you're just nice to people and you try to build genuine relationships, you can have more power than like a millionaire or a billionaire sometimes. Like, think about it. Even like a billionaire wouldn't be able to take my friend out of the Russian army, out of the war in Ukraine, because that's Russian army stuff. But this guy was able to do it just because of his connections. So connections are powerful, bro. Now, I'm going to make more videos about this guy in later. If you enjoyed this video, give me a comment below and I'll start making a new one. If you got something from this video, I encourage you to subscribe to my channel.